Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, you lovelies. This is the one, the only, Happy Bara. You're here for our spoiler-free review of Fantastic Four 2025. This movie was rated a 7 out of 10 from your boy, the one, the only. I didn't mind this movie that much. There was a couple of things, though, that rubbed me the wrong way, if you could say so. And I am here to kind of speak, and I'm going to be here to speak on it and touch on some things that maybe gave you the wrong rub. All around, I thought this movie was pretty good. It's a really solid place for the MCU to quote unquote reset, but there are a couple of things that I were left a little confused and a little taken aback by. We're going to start simply with the plot. The movie begins with a montage on I believe it is the Ted Gilbert show. They go with a couple of comic book noteworthy villains, such as their first villain that they face on their first ever showing in the comics. They also show a couple of instances with them against Mole Man, who is an interesting part of the plot, to put it lightly. We are also going to see a lot of the beginning of the Fantastic Four here. This is where they shoot off into space, where they come back. We see a little bit of their origin, but not all of it. I think that's solid for the pacing of the movie. The pacing of the movie isn't perfect, but little decisions like this are really solid. Surprisingly, right after the full culmination of the montage, they finish up their daily routine of having dinner, being a family. The news is broken about Sue being pregnant, and Silver Surfer arrives shortly after that. Very early in the movie, to my surprise. My prediction is on my post on my community portion of my channel, and I shared that Silver Surfer wouldn't be arriving until about 50 minutes into the movie or so. She arrives no less than 20 or so minutes. Quite shocking. She gives the heralding of Galactus. This is when Johnny flies up. He, has a quote-unquote moment with her. They kind of, they mock Johnny for this. Understandably so. In totality, though, the message was very important, and maybe if the group paid a bit more attention to it, it would have a little bit more weight in the moment than it just kind of going under the radar the way it did. After that, Reed decides to go to Galactus, and this is when I started banging my head against the wall. Not because I wasn't enjoying the movie. I think it fit the character of Reed, but it aggravated me because your wife is pregnant, and you're going to bring her to the world eating, and maybe I want to give Reed the benefit of the doubt, but he assesses that multiple planets off of her, her cosmic, the Silver Surfer's cosmic energy, have been to these specific planets in the in the sanctity of the solar system that obviously they reside in. And after that, they were devoured or destroyed, or like something extraordinary that he uses. He says there was something they were obliterated. He says that, and then I'm gonna go walk up to him with my pregnant wife and just have a little conversation. This is probably gonna go well. I was like, there's no way. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. But I have to say, the process in which we get there, like the space portions, couldn't be happier with. The time dilation which they get back from the mission with Galactus, I thought that was also pretty cool. That's just a little space nerd in me. I think that's pretty interesting. During the conversation with Galactus, though, it is jaw-dropping. It is maybe some of the most. It is some of the most comic book accurate viewings that we have seen in a long time, and it is. Galactus looks amazing. He's at least hundreds of feet tall, and it's interesting because realistically, he has to size himself down some way to get to New York, and kind of in the system, in the process of marching through New York. But in the moment, you don't even realize it because he's already so massive, and New York is already such a large and a large environment. it really does feel like he's the exact same size he was when you seen him in his palace, in his fortress. Silver Surfer meets the Fantastic Four at the gate. She leads them to Galactus, and it goes awful. It goes terrible, like exactly like I thought it would. And Sue is seconds away from having Franklin like ripped out of her uterus at the end, and it's like, Reed, this could have been prevented, but it's the issue with not the movie, but like just Fantastic Four. Like, you remove one of them and you don't have a substitute. Now you have an uneven equation, and unfortunately, they couldn't get out of there without Invisible Woman. Realistically, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. So it's just it's a lot of just me. This half of this review is going to be me just getting very irritated with Reed, with how careless he is, and it's how he is, it's who he is. But it's like, motherfucker, if you don't sit here and think of a better plan. So obviously the meeting with Galactus goes tits up, and they in their escape they give birth to Franklin, and it is insane. They barely lose the Silver Surfer about 3 different times, about twice. It's really captivating. They like surf the coast of a black hole. It's powerful stuff. And the entire time, while Invisible Woman was pushing, she was just there with Reed, and I thought that was also really beautiful. Their relationship also in the movie is just really beautiful. I couldn't be more pleasant, or I couldn't be more pleased with like what was displayed. We move after from the baby's birth. They come to Earth and they give their announcement that like, hey, Galactus is out there, he's wilding, and it's not pretty. Shit is not sweet. Shit is not sweet at all. We should all like really lock in. Like we would do us all well to lock in. And everyone's like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what's going on? And Reed doesn't really have an answer. And honestly, I think it's because he almost lost in space, if we're gonna be honest. Like, he was about like 3 seconds, like 2 inches from just being like completely assed out. Like, how the world would have treated him if Invisible Woman had got trapped or captured or whatever in a different dimension, like 300 light years away. Like, oh, you're cooked, brother. You're cooked. Like publicly, you can never come back from that, right? But I guess aside from that, Sue literally almost lost Franklin, and they went up against Galactus in a very direct way. Like, Johnny Storm, he's seen that Galactus was giving kind of ultimatums in a presence of like, if this doesn't happen, I will simply just crush you here and now. Like, that's an option. I'll crush you here and now, I'll just crush you later. And it's insane that Johnny's first action was to act. Like, he went mano a mano against Galactus not once but twice. And holy hell, man, that's like thinking about that's insane. But to surmise, when they come back to Earth, they say how valiant of an effort they put up, but they couldn't stop him and they couldn't prevent him. And somebody asked, like, hey, are we safe? And Reed says, we don't know. We don't know if we're safe. The rest of the second act is them trying to enact a plan, trying to enact a purpose, trying to enact the steps forward. And it is a lot of problem solving. They announce a plan to move Earth from a speech given from Sue Richards, being that she's facing a lot of backlash, and she gives a really impassionate speech about family and how Earth is her family, and she'll do anything to protect her family and Earth and Franklin, or she'll never give up Franklin. Really beautiful. All the actors, as I said in my spoiler-free review, they really do give it their all. Vanessa Kirby, the gentleman from The Bear, Pedro Pascal, along with the gentleman from Stranger Things. Just amazing actors all around. This movie wouldn't have worked without them being the backbones of the script. My issue with a couple of these plans is the scale. The scale. Reed tells the world This is kind of a note that I have for later, but I assume that there were no Avengers, or are there Avengers? Because there is a still shot of a man clinging to a wall with a backpack. I don't know if that's supposed to be Peter Parker. I'm led to believe that that has to be Peter Parker. I guess what I'm really just trying to get to is there is a very big part of this movie that is just global connection and global camaraderie. And I think that's really beautiful. I think that's a really salient message for a Fantastic Four film. But my only small gripe is that the way they're kind of portrayed as if like there's really no other hero in this universe, which is like fine, but the nerd in me is kind of disappointed because I'm like, well, where did all the Avengers, like, where is everybody? Like, and I don't know, maybe like I'm asking for too much, but like there isn't even like a like the Pims are texting me, they can't stop freaking out about I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. Truth be told, I haven't watched it the second time. But the message here is just we're going to work together and we're going to move Earth. And after deciding they're going to move Earth, they attempt to set everything into motion, and it fails. And I kind of knew it would, because I was just thinking about it. I was like, okay, so either you move Earth and Galactus finds you anyway, or you don't move Earth because the plan failed for some odd reason, like Doom or whatever, right? By the way, there was a small little Doom reference that I thought was pretty cool. Imagine I was talking about the post-credit scene when I spoke about that. Spoilers? Yeah, sure, whatever. You guys have to know spoilers at this point. Following this, Silver Surfer, she smashes through multiple of the teleporter devices, worldwide, and Johnny Storm attempts to stop her, and it goes semi-well. It essentially culminates in her and Johnny having a bit of a stare down as Johnny tells her that he has understood and he has finally broken through her message. It was a bit of a subplot in the movie that Reed kept getting these weird vocal clips from space that he couldn't make heads or tails of. And Johnny, by himself, just through some simple linguistics, in a Rosetta Stone, he figured out that the language that she was speaking was just alien, and it had a certain dialect. You could understand it, you could speak it, everything of that sort. And they had a conversation, and he basically he kind of makes her submit. Basically, he's like, hey, like, I know you're just trying to help, I know you're just trying to do this, but like, my family is here, and like, I'm not gonna let you just take away my family, right? And Silver Surfer just retreats after that. There isn't a lot of issues with the scenes with the family in this movie, but one of the biggest things that happened in the movie is a bit of a disagreement Reed and Sue Storm have about the Reed makes a comment. He said it'll be ethical, it's mathematical, it's reasonable, and in the moment I'm like, well, it's not like that's a wrong statement. I think kind of retreating into just blaming Reed for this issue that he kind of has no control outside of, it was just like, okay. And I kind of made that my prediction, like about 45 to an hour in, there's gonna have some argument about something, which it happened. I mean, it's not the worst part of the movie, but I feel like it's definitely the slowest part of the movie, because after this, they have to enact another plan. And that plan is to get Galactus to New York. This requires that the Mole Man, the guy from earlier, he apparently has a just really good business connection with Sue Storm. But again, something I kind of, great minds think alike. That was also something that was in my phase one pitch to Sue Storm being a genius, because she is a genius. Everyone knows that. She essentially brokers a deal with Mole Man that there will be an evacuation and a transference of residency to the underground territory of Subterranea. I did not know that this was a place. This is the first time seeing it, and I think it's very fucking cool. This is very, like, everything about this was cool. Again, the practical effects and the CGI that is woven into the lore, such as like even like a couple of the beginning monsters from the first couple seconds of this movie, it's just solid, man. It's good. It's all around good, and I couldn't complain. I couldn't complain about it. What we are moving to after is Galactus's arrival. Galactus arrives, and he realizes that Franklin is, at the middle of the portal, as Reed has constructed. This plan, I also knew, was not going to work because Galactus is a genius, and the countering of a genius, with Reed Richards being the countering of a genius can't be genius. It has to be brawn. You will see that later. So Reed initially tries to outsmart Galactus, and it doesn't work. And I knew it wouldn't work. He attempts to kind of fake out Galactus, and he kind of says like clever bugs. Bugs are clever. But in my mind, I'm like, that wasn't fucking clever, because yes, he's using a bioscan. Reed, the fact that Reed couldn't detect that, like, you didn't put not another baby. Oh my god, that would have sounded crazy. Not another baby, but you maybe put a fake baby, an android baby. You put, I don't know, Reed. You put something as to where he can absorb it, and he goes, oh, you niggas think shit's sweet, right? But no, it's like you put an empty one there, and I'm like, Reed has been using fucking metrics this entire time. Why would you put something with no heat source in the baby stroller? So, long story short, he ends up just marching towards fucking Baxter Building. I'm not sure if this is a comic book accurate thing, but I feel like I remember Galactus, or maybe it's one of the Sentinels, possibly, when they walk, like little pieces of them like fall off, like just like little like little henchmen, like little, essentially just like mercenaries, but no, like little fodder guys just rip through. Maybe that's a different massive guy in the Marvel lore, or maybe it might be. God forbid it's DC and I got that mixed up. Oh man, that would've been terrible. As Galactus is marching through New York City, the mission is to stop him from getting to Franklin. I'm going to spoil it right now. It doesn't work. That doesn't work. It's a lot of really interesting, as Jim Cornette would put it, a lot of flippy carny bullshit. But no, it was really good, man. It was really solid CGI, really solid choreography as well. I think just some of the scenes, even with like Sue and like the Thing, it's just good. This is good, man. Like, everyone, they move like heroes. They move like they know what they're doing. They move like people who have been doing this for at least a year or two. And that's good. That's where we want to move our movies along with. That pace. Reed, after botching this plan, he realizes that if he can still find a way, he can get him to the gate. He just has to push Galactus through the gate. I didn't hate this only because this is reminiscent of a famous story where Galactus gets caught in the negative zone, and just that entire storyline kind of bleeds into Franklin Richards with the To Me My Herald, which I thought would be in this movie. Kind of upset that we didn't get an older Franklin Richards. I'm going to get to that during the end credit scene. I wish I could fast forward through time, but I can't. So essentially, Galactus is going to get knocked through the portal somehow, some way. He attempts to pick up Franklin, and he does. No, he succeeds. And Sue Richards not fucking with this at all. Or Sue Storm, sorry about that. Not fucking with this at all. She pushes Galactus with brute force, and it's like just straight mama bear energy. Yo, it is dope. She pushes him straight through the portal. I was expecting her to catch a nosebleed, some Jessica Alba shit, but it was dope, bro. It was dope. It was fire, man. Super fucking fire. And not for nothing, very reminiscent of Sue Storm's character. She is that powerful. Her, along with Magneto, if you really conceptualize their powers and their abilities, they have the potential to really take over, like, at least like an entire continent, God forbid that's just landmass. Hey, yo, they are heavy hitters, man. And Sue is the MVP of this movie. She pushes Galactus through the portal. Reed, and again, an amazing sequence. He goes up to Galactus's hand. He snatches Franklin, as Galactus kind of retreats back into the portal. And not for nothing, I gave the Fantastic Four a little bit of leeway. I'm like, yo, finally a fucking plan works. Finally a plan is fucking working for y'all. I was so happy. I was so ecstatic. And Galactus climbs through the portal like the big malevolent bitch that he is. He was not gonna lay down that easy. He was not gonna take that shit laying down. And he not for nothing, he kind of showed that Reed Richards, you can't outsmart Galactus on all fronts. Reed got outsmarted and outbested by Galactus. It really was Johnny who pulled a an annihilist storyline. He basically said, tell Franklin that Uncle Johnny loves him. He's about to sacrifice himself. I'm like, yo, if they go this way and they arrive to the third dimension with no fucking Johnny Storm, and Johnny Storm in this dimension with our Avengers is like a fucking broken down beat man that lost his Fantastic Four back in the past. I was like, yo, they're about to cook. But Johnny Storm does stay alive. I just think it was cool that they even referenced it. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Like, now people who know, and they can't stop talking about it because how fucking cool it is. Silver Surfer, after her talk with Johnny, she really reflected on her life. They did Silver Surfer's lore fucking perfectly, from her being a scientist to her fucking being the Herald for Galactus, one of the first Heralds of Galactus, to her actively picking what planets must be chosen for him. It was perfect. I don't know when we're going to get a solo Silver Surfer flick or show or anything, but it couldn't come faster. Because fuck am I excited for that, man. Oh man. And shout out to the actress also, she killed it. Shortly after Silver Surfer knocks Galactus through the portal, Sue collapses just from exhaustion. And at first I thought it was like she's like out cold, but she's breathing. Like, we need to get her to like a hospital bed. But apparently this like killed her. This was like on some like, if you exude too much power, if you exude too much of your superpower, like it kills you. It's like your life force. And like if you use too much of your superpower, like it kills you. It was just, that's probably like a really old trope, but like it's not very prevalent in some of the newer iterations of TV shows and movies. So I'm not exactly used to it, but man, was it cool. Man, was it cool to see that there being like consequences for a massive action like that. Because for nothing, she really did bitch this nigga Galactus into a space, in a ripping space and time. Like, that's genius. It's genius. Thinking about it though, it kind of was just a portal to anywhere though. I wonder where he set the portal to. We didn't get those answers. Hopefully it's to the negative zone. Because if it's not, it's just like it's just like a field. Like, I don't know. Because mind you, these portals are set up all around the world. Like at least in like 30 states. Minimum like 20 countries. So where did they send Galactus? That's interesting. But saying all this to say, Sue is down and out. And Franklin, he brings her back to life just with the power of Cosmic. And the way they fucking did a baby Franklin Richards, man, it's just dope. It's dope. Like, to see hoopers who know what the fuck they're doing take this move, or take any comic book movie, or even like a book adaptation, and just hoop and do their fucking due diligence. Man, like, I couldn't be fucking prouder, man. I couldn't be happier to be living in this timeline with this movie. Again, this movie is a really solid 7 out of 10. It's possible on a rewatch, I might raise my viewing. I might raise my rating. I might lower my rating. I enjoyed this movie a fuck of a lot more than I enjoyed Thunderbolts. I thought Thunderbolts was trash. Thunderbolts was fucking awful. I think the way they displayed Sentry was disgusting. I think the way that they made the Void CGI monster was just, I wasn't fucking with it, bro. The way that they like danced around mental health, like, oh, Yelena, you're so sad. You shouldn't be sad. Put down your phone. They didn't say the word depression or suicide once in that fucking movie. Literally just because it was a PG-13 and Disney doesn't want to go that dark with the fucking movie, even though if we're going to be comic book accurate, Thunderbolts is the comic book and is the fucking movie where you explore those kind of topics with a bunch of reject fucking heroes. That's neither here nor there. What we are going to do though is wrap up this movie with the end credit scene and a bit of a rant. The end credit scene is Doom visiting the Fantastic Four. They're being celebrated for saving the Earth from Galactus, because Galactus, he was gone, pushed into the portal. And the ending scenes are just, them being a family, having a good time. But the post-credit scenes is 4 years later, and Doom is sitting in the living room after Sue Richards grabs a book for Franklin Richards, and he's a great reader. He likes the book, The Origin of Man, like essentially like he's like big into like sociology and like kind of like I think it actually might be biology. All right, it's just cool. It's very interesting, being that is who he grows up to be, like an omega level mutant, like or maybe an omega level mutates, or maybe it's somebody with the power of cosmos. I'm not exactly sure. Saying all this to say, she gets up and returns, and we see Doom playing with Franklin in the living room with his mask off. I took immediate issue with this. Immediate issue, because early in the movie we see that Doom isn't present, being that the president of Latveria intentionally skips the peace treaty with Mole Man during the beginning montages. And that leads us to believe that Doom, if not defeated, is at least around, because and I really don't want to try to stick on this for too long, but they wouldn't make a flagpole and a chair and a nameplate for somebody who A, doesn't exist, or B, who's dead, or C, is telling them they probably would make a nameplate, or just out of convenience, if somebody telling them to go fuck themselves. Doom was probably telling them to go fuck themselves, but they wouldn't do all that for somebody who's A, dead, or B, not there at all. Like, we're implied to believe that he's not there, as the director said that Doom at Secret Wars, that Doom and Reed Richards are gonna have a beginning like Tony and Thanos-esque relationship, which is like whatever, right? Like whatever the fuck that means. I can't understand where they're going with the whole Doom thing. So it has to be a rip in space-time or something of that sort. And Doom must have appeared. And Doom must have appeared from the rip in space-time. Or we're led to believe that Doom has just been a background character this entire time. And he's been acting maybe as like a quote-unquote guardian of Earth. Because I truly believe that's what it is. I think they're going to make Doom a quote-unquote guardian of Earth, like an anti-hero. And then his first mission is like he's gonna get to our universe and like clip somebody and be like, oh, this shit's fun. Oh, this shit's fun. I like doing this shit. Hold up. You tell me I could use my magic and my futuristic fucking shit to do what to niggas? Oh, I'm on it. Because even like Herbie, I think Herbie was in the vicinity and he was just quiet as a church mouse. I think he was like just dusting off like a counter or something. And he was like searching for a book. He was like rolling around searching for books and shit. And Doom is just right there. And it's like, I feel like there would be like an alarm system if it was something that serious. Like, I feel like if Doom was there and it was like the Doom that we know is like a real issue, like a real op, I feel like there would have been an alarm like lockdown, like something. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if Doom is like an ally, because how does he get even inside the vicinity of the Baxter building, which we know just from the movie, you know, is high protocol to even be in there. How do you even get in there? And then even as you're present, none of the sensors, none of the alarms go off. Franklin is smiling. So it's like, am I led to believe that like it's obviously it's Robert Downey Jr. in there. It's Robert Downey Jr. and he's an ally of these Fantastic Four. Oh man, I'm really trying to piece this together, because if he was an enemy, I feel like there would be some, like, how should I put this? If it is the hypothetical that the Fantastic Four have dealt with Doom in some fashion in the past, whether that was minimal or maybe large, I feel like it would play a role in the security of the building, being of who Doom is, unless they literally just treated Doom like a fucking villain of the week and he became like a guardian after that, and then after he's gonna go to this universe, quote unquote this universe, and like start killing shit. None of this makes any sense, guys. I'm at a loss for words, and I want to say it doesn't make sense in like a good way, but I really reflect on it, and I don't think it makes sense because it's confusing. And the place that they took this universe after the departure of Jonathan Majors from that, rescinded abuse case, I think that they've just kind of been left in limbo. They kind of, not for nothing, they kind of unrightfully let go of the future of this franchise. And then the leading of this franchise, it's just Tony Stark. It's just Tony Stark again. And I hate to do this, guys, but it's literally just what WWE is doing. It's like, oh man, everything's failing. What about John Cena again? You guys like John Cena, right? It's like, yo, like, and here's my thing with Jonathan Majors. You don't have to agree with the court rulings or anything like that. But Kang as a character is way too fucking pivotal to Marvel Comics, and to the Avengers, just to just to obliterate him from all the timeline. Have it be a fucking Kang who goes to a planet of secret technological aliens that look like the Oath Keepers from the Green Lantern Corps, right? Have them change his face, make it Denzel fucking Washington. I'm serious, bro. Like, you can't sit here and give people Kang in such a minimal amount in Quantumania, a movie that I didn't really even have any problems with. I think if any of you try to go up against at least 1,000 60-foot armored ants, I think you'd have a hard time. I think at least 4 of you would have a pretty hard fucking time going against that, right? So I understand people not being happy with the showing of Kang, but just to erase him entirely, and now you have this vacuum of Doctor Doom being who he is, and nobody really being able to understand like the placing that he is. Because if there is a world where Doom exists and the Baxter Building is just completely susceptible to him being like him transporting into the fucking living room, like if any villain can just transport from a ripping space-time into Reed Richards' living room, we need to start having some fucking conversations about Mr. Fantastic. We're gonna have to start having some really uncomfortable conversations about Mr. fucking Fantastic. I wasn't left upset about this, but I was just left really shocked in like a kind of exhausted way. I don't know what these guys are up to. But I am expecting the best again. I really enjoyed this movie. There's nothing to complain about for this film. I think a lot of their strong points with the family and with the emotional beats, with Reed, Pedro Pascal, with Vanessa Kirby and Sue Richards, even with Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm, their kind of brother dynamic. I think it was all done very well. And I think I'd watched this movie twice. I'd watched this movie 2 days in a row. I'd watched this movie on Thanksgiving. I'd watched this movie on some random holiday. I'd watch this movie on a plane. I'd watch the movie on a train. I think what some people have to remember that it's not about being about DC or being about Marvel. It's all about being for consistency. And if the consistency can come with a solid adaptation of what we have gotten on our paperback classics, then I will never object. Even when they skew a little bit from the path, I'm always for creative integrity, and I'm always for the story being viewed through a different lens, because that's what life is, perceptive from others' perspective. I will suggest that all of you catch this movie if you do such a chance, and I hope that all of you have a good rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're catching it. We will also be putting up our rock video very shortly after this, so make sure you stay tuned for that. This has been Cappy, and stay tuned, stay beautiful. Peace, y'all.